Women don't lose men by accident. They lose control of men the moment their manipulation stops working. Before we go deeper, hit subscribe and like the video. The darkest manipulation tactics women use aren't born out of cruelty. They come from something far older, far colder, far more instinctive. For thousands of years, women didn't survive through physical strength. They survived through psychological strategy. Influence, persuasion, emotional leverage, these weren't choices, they were necessities. Every manipulation tactic women use today is simply an echo of that evolutionary reality. Not because women are broken, not because society corrupted them, but because nature designed them to secure stability in the most efficient way possible. Men operate through logic. Women operate through strategy. Men show their value externally through strength, status, competence. Women display theirs internally through fertility, emotional intelligence, and relational influence. And whenever one gender lacks physical dominance, psychological power fills the void. That's why manipulation becomes a currency. Some women use it consciously. Most use it instinctively. But every woman uses it because that's the system nature built. A woman's mind constantly evaluates cost and benefit. Every action, every emotion, every shift in tone is an unspoken calculation. How much value can I extract? How much effort must I give? How secure is this man? How replaceable is he? If the cost is low, manipulation increases. If the cost becomes high, the manipulation becomes subtle. Women always manipulate the men they believe they can control. They rarely manipulate the men they fear losing. Biology amplifies this behavior. Women are wired to pursue safety, and safety is easiest to obtain from the man whose emotions she can steer. Control equals predictability, predictability equals security, and security gives her the freedom to express the deep emotional complexity she carries. Where a man seeks peace, a woman seeks certainty. Every tactic she uses is an attempt to create it. And women learn early that emotions are levers. Tears change decisions. Silence creates panic. Jealousy creates urgency. Withdrawal triggers fear. Affection rewards compliance. Approval releases dopamine in men. Every emotional expression becomes a tool. Most men never see the tool, they only feel the effect. Women see both. Society makes this even more extreme. Women are rewarded for emotional displays and men are punished for emotional confusion. Women are told, your feelings are truth. Men are told, your feelings are weakness. So the battlefield becomes uneven from the start. The person who controls the emotional narrative controls the relationship. In modern dating markets, attention is abundant for women but rare in quality. Scarcity always breeds entitlement. Entitlement breeds manipulation. Manipulation becomes the default strategy for maintaining superiority in the market. Women manipulate the men they believe they can replace. They do not manipulate the men they fear losing. But the darkest part is how women exploit male identity wounds, fear of abandonment, fear of inadequacy, fear of failing a partner. When a woman says, you don't care about me, she's not expressing emotion, she's triggering guilt. When she says, any real man would do this, she's not asking, she's weaponizing your identity. Women rarely state needs directly. They provoke you into fulfilling them. Daniel learned this the hard way. His girlfriend Mia discovered early that guilt was the key to his compliance. She never asked directly for anything. She cried. She collapsed into emotional fragility. Daniel, being empathetic and loyal, rushed in to save her every time. Eventually, he wasn't comforting her. He was obeying her conditioning. He became a caretaker, not a partner. Leon faced a different tactic. His girlfriend rewarded chaos. She only gave him affection after he proved his value. Gifts, acts, emotional labor. Compliments were rare and arrived only after he did something significant. She wasn't loving him, She was training him like an asset she wanted maximum output from. Marcus faced silence. Not arguments, not tears, just silence. Hours of it. Sometimes days. She knew he hated the feeling of disconnection, and she used it as a leash. The less she spoke, the more his anxiety grew. The more anxious he became, the more he apologized, even when he had done nothing wrong. Ethan dealt with a different kind of manipulation. A scarcity trap. His girlfriend constantly hinted at other men wanting her, not to share information, but to destabilize him. The fear of competition made him work harder for someone who was already giving him less. She didn't improve the relationship. She improved her leverage. But manipulation never stays contained. Over time, it escalates. First comes resentment. You resent the way she controls you. She resents the way you eventually resist. The relationship becomes a cold war of emotional strategies. Then comes psychological collapse. You lose trust in your own perceptions. You start walking on eggshells. You second-guess your instincts. You forget who you were before her. Then comes emotional addiction. She gives approval unpredictably, and unpredictability creates the strongest dopamine bonds. You stop loving her. You start craving her approval like a drug. Then come the wounds. You chase the version of her from the beginning, the warm, affectionate, sweet illusion she crafted to hook you. You defend the woman she never truly was. You become deeply attached to a fantasy she created strategically. And the long-term consequences are brutal. You lose energy. You lose ambition. You lose masculinity. Your entire emotional system orbits around avoiding her emotional landmines. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave. Your nervous system bonds to the chaos. Chaos feels like chemistry. Pain feels like passion. Manipulation feels like love. But here's the harsh logic. A woman who leads with manipulation is a high-cost, low-return asset. She drains your resources, your time, your emotions, your sanity. Her affection fluctuates based on leverage, not love. Her commitment appears only when she fears losing control. Her ROI is negative. But a woman who leads with honesty and stability is the opposite. Low cost, high reward. She doesn't test your masculinity. She respects your boundaries. She connects through clarity, not chaos. She invests emotionally rather than extracting. She adds value to your life instead of depleting it. In economic terms, the first woman is a depreciating liability. The second is a compounding asset. Most men choose based on chemistry. Smart men choose based on value. Awakened men choose based on long-term emotional return on investment. The dating market rewards men who see clearly and punishes men who ignore red flags because of desire. And if you're still listening, you're not the same man you were at the start of this video. Something inside you has shifted. You are one of the few who sees the game behind the emotions. You are one of the few who refuses bad deals. One of the few who chooses self-respect over emotional captivity. One of the few who will no longer be manipulated by guilt, silence, jealousy, withdrawal, or emotional theatrics. You are no longer predictable. You are no longer controllable. You are no longer trapped in a psychological maze you never agreed to enter. You are awake now. And the moment a man wakes up, the manipulation collapses. The moment you name the tactics, they lose their power. The moment you recognize the patterns, you stop responding to them. Awareness is liberation. And liberation is masculinity reclaimed. Because once you understand her tactics, you stop being her puppet and start being her lesson. See the pattern. Protect your energy. This is depth realm.